Welcome all to our look at Naughty Dog's new game, The Last of Us 2. After playing the game for quite some time and finishing the story, we're going to give you our most honest opinion of it. Mind you, there's a lot of divided opinions, and just like I said, this is what we think of the game. Your opinion could be different, and we respect your point of view, so here goes ours. As a reminder, before we begin, if you like this video, please let us know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we release another video such as this one. And here it goes. The Last of Us 2 is a sequel to The Last of Us, released in 2013 for the PlayStation 3, and it quickly became one of the best games, selling 1.3 million units in the first week alone. After its huge success, Naughty Dog begins to produce The Last of Us 2 in 2012. Fast forward to 2020 and the game is released about 2 weeks ago. The very first thing that caught my eyes in the game is most definitely the visuals. Graphic wise, this game looks amazing, and I'm running in an original PS4, not even a PS4 Pro. The level of details, the lighting, and everything about this game is beautiful, down to the smallest things you can never think of. Sun glares, cold breath in characters. Weapons start to look weathered as you progress into the game, and the same thing goes for clothing. There are sections completely covered in foliage. You would never imagine this was an urban city at some point. Almost it's as if you're playing an episode of The Walking Dead with how rundown the city looks. Obviously, instead of being Georgia, it's Seattle. As far as graphics is concerned, this game is marvelous. Just like in the first game, you can upgrade your weapons in the workbenches. These upgrades include aim stability, increased ammo capacity, the firing rate, reloading speed, and adding a silencer for your pistol. You can upgrade all your weapons: the bolt action sniper rifle, the bow, pistol, and revolver. The story follows 5 years after the events of the first game, being 25 years after the outbreak. Ellie's now 18 years old, and Joel is what it looks to be in his mid-50s. The game begins with Joel telling Tommy he couldn't let the Fireflies kill Ellie in order to find the cure. While being on patrol, they stumble upon Abby, being followed by a horde of infected, and they help Abby get to safety, and that's where the game begins. After finding out Joel didn't make it to the safe point, Ellie goes out looking for them. Along the way, you find the hideout of Eugene, a former Firefly who dies of old age. Eugene, as it seems, liked to puff the magic dragon on his spare time, as he had a lot of Mary J plants. At this rate, either he was convinced weed will cure the human race, or he was going to go out high as a kite. I won't be spoiling any of the story since some members of the channel have not played the game yet, but in retrospect, I have to say, the story started in a good way, but by mid and ending are definitely not what I had expected. The game shows you both Ellie and Abby's point of view of the story, Abby being the antagonist, and playing from Abby's side of things really got me somewhat annoyed, and it's like the game is forcing me to be sympathetic with Abby, which I could really care less. For a game that had been in development for about 6 years, there's a lot that I just cannot believe The Last of Us 2 fails to do. Starting with the fact you could only carry 3 of each items needed to make traps, arrows, and silencers. Ellie has the bag the size of a kid in kindergarten. You cannot carry essential items, but you can somehow carry a whole bunch of letters from dead people and collectible hero cards that are laying around. The horse was completely useless in this game. The developer put some blockades to force you to get into the horse and jump through whatever obstacle you had it to get over. Other than that, it was perfectly fine walking everywhere, and it was even faster instead of waiting for Dina to get on the horse before I can continue to wherever I needed to go. You cannot explore too much on your own because once again, the game forces you to follow the path it had already laid out for you. Once you activate a certain sequence, forget about going back to where you were or wherever you just came from to get the loot you forgot to get or to replenish the items you need. Which brings me to my next point. Dead enemies drop ammo randomly. You cannot swap your weapon for theirs or get their ammo unless they drop it. Now, I've seen some argument about this particular subject, Many fans have said it's a story driven game and they don't want you to have unlimited ammo. But come on, it took you 6 years to develop a game that keeps the same mechanics of gameplay and style as the first one. No hint of getting more creative in order to improve the game. This is why in each area you have to encounter about 6 to 10 enemies in a 2 to 3 block size stages. I really have to say, this game is the biggest disappointment I have played this year. I was really looking forward to it, and after playing the first part, which was great, I cannot justify paying $60 for a game that all it manages to do is better graphics and add a new storyline. I feel like The Last of Us Part 2 is more like a DLC than an actual game at this point. If they decide to make a Part 3, I won't be pre-ordering and I'll wait 3 to 4 months after the game is released, by which time the game has already been discounted. If I had to score this game in a 10-point scale rating, I'd give it a 5 for mediocre, and the only thing that saves it from getting a lower rating is the graphics. So save yourself the money and play a different game for the time being.